rain, shine, tornado. I just understand as long as I get to the trail, the work will be done. Like that's how I generate my mind and my body. Like I'm in charge. What I want you to do, you're gonna do regardless. Because I understand that like at the end of the activity I forced myself to do, I would feel 10 times better if I were to not do anything at all. I would hate myself. I promise I would hate myself if I were to say I'm going to do something and I were to not do it because I want to let myself come to an excuse to overpower my will. I would hate myself for that period. I'd be so mad. I'd be so mad at myself. So I know that feeling is going to feel a lot worse than if I were to force myself to do something that I know I will enjoy and I would thank myself for it. So.
What's up, y'all? So my guest today is someone who has already been on this show before. He is definitely, I always tell him, an inspiration of mine. We always go back and forth. Just worldly in the way he thinks, super advanced in the way he goes about disciplining his life and his routine and his daily habits. Someone that y'all can definitely learn from. So that's why he is back on here again. He's only the second person to be back on the show for a second time. So everyone, welcome back, Andrew. Andrew Panther, well known as Panther around the fitness globe, Instagram, Facebook, whatever it may be. What's up, dude?
I'm chilling, man. Thank you for the introduction. That's love. So,
of course.
Happy to be here for a second time.
Yeah, man. And I mean, obviously, people are seeing some of the behind the scenes, right, on Facebook, which is cool. It took us a while to figure that out. But this is a first time for me. I've never done this before either, doing it to Facebook while we record for the show. So it should come out pretty cool. With your day, I wanted to get started back onto your different eating patterns. We talked a lot about your OMAD style last time you were on. 1 meal a day. You were going 23 hours fasting. And now you've switched that up. So I want to know, number one, why? And then number two, tell everybody what you already told me about what you're doing differently.
Okay, got you. So initially the 1 hour, doing 1 meal a day was simplicity. So everybody kind of begins to put on weight when they overeat. It's very easy to do that. No matter how much you exercise, no matter how much you use whatever people are preaching online. If you eat too much, you're going to put on weight no matter what. So for me, I love eating, and I figured the best way for me to enjoy all the foods I like while still enjoying the fitness benefits without like backtracking any of the work I put forward was eating 1 meal in 1 hour. So what I learned over time is so much more things. HGH, like I told you last time.
Yeah.
So your human growth hormone, it increases 1,300 to 2,000% after fasting for over 16 hours and doing a fasted workout. So that right there, who would not be sold on that one beneficial fact? So that's kind of what took me down the avenue of I'm going to be a 1 meal a dayer for a year and a half. Then it hit a toll on my I guess you could say my energy levels, because as somebody who works self-fasted, somebody who runs at night, my body was more or less in a crisis state. So I kept almost reaching for more energy, and my body was giving me signs. So that could be brain fog, that could be feelings of irritability, that could be me more or less feeling if I'm in a conversation, I feel like I'm on Mars while the person in front of me is still entertaining and pretty much interacting in a conversation. Like I'm there, but I'm not there. So one day I did an early morning run on a Saturday, which was about, I'd say 2 weeks ago. And that's when my life changed for the better, you could say. So around 14 hours, which I did not ever used to break my fast at 14 hours. I wouldn't even think about food up until, like I said, 20 hours. I had some cereal called Ogashi. So I pretty much looked up online ways for me to get volume while also keeping my protein at the highest consumption like I have through today. And what I found was Ogashi, which is the brand of that cereal, has 130 calories for its 1.5 cups, which is a pretty good amount. 13 grams of protein, the fats is only 2, and the carbs is going to be about 24 grams per one serving. So that right there sold me. I can eat a lot. I can still have my carb source for my running to increase my performance, and it allowed me to more or less discover what I'm about to tell you. So 14 hours in, I've been dealing with so much lethargic feelings. I've been trying to proselytize exactly why is it that I don't feel, if you want to say human, I'm built like a machine, but I don't feel human. I feel like my spirit and my mind is almost trying to tap into an energy source that is not available with me being around probably 6, 7% body fat, I'd say. So that's the symptoms. I eat that meal, it was like a light switch went on. I felt the body actually utilizing the energy, these fight or flight feelings with my nervous system almost going haywire because the energy is not there at the time, shut off. So now I feel like it's almost like limitless, kind of what you have back there, like the movie.
Yeah.
My mind almost just shifted around. I'm at work still as an accountant. I'm in a conversation and I just feel more like alive. I feel like I can interact and I feel most importantly human. So that's the main thing with me with fitness. If I'm gonna do something, it has to be more than just the superficial, which is the body. Anybody could get a body because we're all born into one, but like what do you do with it and how do you use it through the energy and the mind and the spirit as the three pillars to kind of uplift yourself and others. So that's
Yeah.
kind of really how I started doing the 14 hours to 16 hours of fasting.
That's pretty funny how that, and you just came back from that run and you were like, I need to eat.
Yeah, I honestly was I was dying. Like I just felt like I was about to collapse. So I was like, you know what? This is not enjoyable. This clearly is not healthy. So it's really what put me down this new spiral of health.
Cool.
And
What
this is not comfortable.
how long did you do the one meal a day?
So I did that for a year and a half. So about 18
Did it
months,
for a year and a
very strictly,
half.
yeah.
Set out on doing it for a year and a half. You did it. Damn,
Yeah.
I didn't know you did it for that long.
Yeah.
Damn.
But like I said, man, the main thing that kind of kept me hooked was just I could eat whatever I want, and I was losing fat at like a crazy rapid pace, and I'm still building muscle at the same time. So
You were eating like 7,000 calories in like
yeah, so some days, yeah. So it didn't make any sense because I know I wasn't doing cardio,
yeah,
which also is like another thing. I wasn't doing cardio at the time because I just really started running again, like
you just started
around 40 days. Yeah. So at that time, I'm eating 7,000 calories. It's not making sense because all I'm doing is probably between like 30 minutes to 1 hour of weightlifting.
mm-hmm.
So, however, it made my body begin to metabolize the 7,000 calories. It's something that I say is more like a biohack that I obviously discovered because it
Yeah,
doesn't make sense.
it makes no sense whatsoever.
Yeah, at all.
You told me you were like, I'm working out like, maybe 40 minutes a day of like strength training.
Hmm.
And, I watched all your workouts on your story and it's not like you're going pure like strength training
Hmm.
of like 5 by 5. You're doing functional type of work most of the time, and to put on muscle like that, and you were like you said at like 6 or 7% body fat,
Yeah,
but you were probably burning what, 800 calories in your workout.
that's what I would say about, yeah, because I don't really fully trust like the Fitbit
Yeah, yeah.
calorie trackers and stuff like that when like it reads for my expenditure energy. But it said I was burning some workouts in like 40 minutes, like 1,000 and stuff like that. But I take that with a grain of salt. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't think that is physically possible.
Yeah, hitting 1,000 calories in a workout is it's a shitty workout. You
Yeah,
feel dead afterwards.
I'm telling you,
Yeah.
yeah,
It takes a large combination of um, like high intensity interval cardiovascular strength training. Like it takes all three of those in order to really get that in like 45 minutes.
exactly, yeah,
So I would say, yeah, if you were at even 750, 800 calories and you're taking in 7,000, 5,000 plus on probably average, right?
hmm,
Yeah. That's crazy that your metabolism, your BMR is probably what, 19 to 2200. Then you're at 3000 and you're still taking in an excess of 2000.
And burning fat every single day, getting leaner and leaner. But I'm getting heavier at the same time, just through like the muscle.
It was just muscle, muscle, muscle.
Yeah, the
You were doing
composition.
an extreme amount of protein, correct?
Some days up to like 400 grams I was intaking. So that's like a absurd amount. And like I said, it always goes back to like the science says you can only, I believe, absorb like 30 to 50 grams. But if I'm taking in 300 to 400 and, 30 minutes to an hour, like eating window, it's kind of goes against whatever everybody says.
Yeah.
And that's what opened my mind to, I'm not going to say I don't trust science, but I trust results at the end of the day.
Without a doubt. Without a doubt. There's some things that genetically disposition people or put people in a better place as well. And there's ways that our body's evolving that science hasn't caught up to yet. And there's 7 billion people in the world. You can't test every single one of them and say that holds true for every person.
Yeah.
No, that's for damn sure. And I mean, I thought I was feeling great lately, but like every time I watch your story, I'm like, jeez, bro, this dude, he just don't stop. He
I don't stop, man.
he does not stop. What is your routine of cardio been as you are getting back into it? I know you're going for long runs. I saw one that you went 10 miles the other day. You used to do cross country in college.
Yeah.
That's not a crazy feat for you. You can do that. For me, I mean, 3 miles is like, shit, I need to take a week off.
Yeah.
But what is your prescription of running and cardio?
So, which is kind of crazy. Like you said, I used to do cross country, and that's something I took for granted. Because think about it, man. Like I did not run for probably like 2 years just because of so many like injuries that kept lingering on. So like my ankles, my knees, my hips. So during that whole entire, I guess you could say like break period of not running, I was then implementing more ways to come back as I have now 40 days of running. So I was doing things for like ankle mobility, strengthening, things for the hips, the knees as well by strengthening that BMO muscle.
Yeah.
And now, like I said, 40 days straight, I've been running. Some days, like you said, the weekend, it might be 10 miles. All the other days have been around 4 miles. But the thing is, like, every single mile was earned, if you want to say that, because
Sure.
I could go from where I used to run probably I would say like a 420 mile. I'm never really ran it officially, but when I was at my best, I still had speed, strength, and I was running hills every day. So I know for a fact I could have powered probably like a 420, 430 miles, somewhere in that range. So going from that to then running 40 days prior, I did 20 minutes run, 10 minutes straight, 10-minute back. I am wiped. I'm telling you, I am wiped going 9 minutes to like 10-minute miles, and I'm so exhausted, man. So that right there could have took a toll on my mental, where it could have been, wow, I just ran 20 minutes where before I could have jogged a 5K. I could have jogged 3 miles and I jogged. So I'm like, I have so much work to do. But the way I built my mindset was I saw that as a challenge. I remember running those 20 minutes, and I come back to my car and I'm just gloating. I'm so happy because I'm like, nah, like this is the first time I've ran more than like 5 minutes, you know what I mean? Like, and my main passion has always been running. So I take that as word. What is next week gonna bring? So every single day I got out there, I ran, and I am struggling. I'm telling you, it's not easy running. It's so painful and hard. That what honestly should have deterred me, just because of I know my potentiality and I know my ability, and then there's the reality. So when the reality is I'm running like an amateur, best way to put it.
Yeah.
Right now, I'm on this trail like an amateur. I see people who are in their 40s just lollygagging, running by me. And, I'm serious. I'm grateful, whatever. So I'm like, oh, how you guys doing? They're like, oh, keep it up. And I'm like, damn, like, hearing those words to anybody else I felt at the time would have been like, wow, maybe I should just turn and go back. But I took it as, like I said, a challenge upon myself because I know who I am. I know I'm great. And I know I'm going to tap into that exact energy and spirit that I want to manifest. So I kept going. Here we are 40 days later. I'm doing my same runs, like 4 miles every day, like I said, at 6:30 pace. The other day, I started my first mile of my 4 miles. I did a 5:30 and effortless. But I'm a student of whatever I like to I guess you could say, do as a passion. So I'm a student of running. I look at videos, I read articles, I read every single thing about how can I be the most efficient, strong, leanest, fat burning, you name it, type of runner. So I learned how to run faster, more effortlessly control my breathing pattern, utilize certain parts of the trail, whether it's the grass, to kind of build more of the stability and ankles because I have to be mindful and focus on my stride. Or it could be me run on concrete where I then want to actually pick up my cadence. That way it's more like I'm on one of those airport machines that kind of glide across. That's how I try to use the same thing where I keep a very fast cadence and I just try to keep the knees at moderate level and just glide across the trail. So
That's
that's more or less what I've been doing. Yeah, seeing as a
five
challenge.
five and a half minutes is what you're pacing out 4 miles at right now.
What was that?
5.5 minutes is what you're pacing out right now for
Oh,
four.
so that was my one of it, but I ended up like averaging in total like it was 6:30. But like I said, I just was doing 9:30, 10-minute miles before, and I was wiped. But it's the same energy. I'm not doing 6:30 like I'm honestly gracefully just running it, passing by, giving the same motivation to other people as when I was doing my thing. Like keep it up, like I'm doing the same thing back. But most people I see, I almost want to stop and explain to them like when they always get back to end the trail, I'm there shirtless, and they're like, "Oh man, I wish I was like you. Keep it up." And in my head, I'm just like, I mean, I just started running again. Like, thank you, but just know like this is just the starting line. I was like, not just be consistent every day and like don't focus on tomorrow, just focus on like today.
Yeah,
Tomorrow you could be 30 seconds faster. The next day you could be 40 seconds slower. But where you want to be in a month, that's gonna be dictated on like your now. So like don't care about how you do, don't fret, don't worry. Just keep putting the work forward and it will always come back around.
that's so valid, bro. There's ebbs and flows, and so many people get caught up in those
Hmm.
emotionally, right? And they lose sight of the average, right?
Yeah,
If you got
average like that.
exactly the average outcome over the course of time will play out, but people get caught up in the ebbs and flows of my first mile was 5:30, my second mile was 6:30. Damn it, I ain't gonna do that again.
Yeah,
Like
you just did a 5:30.
that, yeah, right.
Mhm.
So like that's obviously a very unique example, but that happens throughout the course of the day with millions of different things, activities, does not matter. People get so emotionally tied into stuff like that. What always has like blown me away about you, bro, is that it's so like it's such like a minimalistic approach to just doing it. Like
Hmm.
cut out all the bullshit, just do it.
Do it.
Just
Yeah.
literally do it. Just show up, do whatever it is. Now, what's your basis of, are you running that in the morning? Are you running that at night?
Hmm. So
How
I always do that in the
figuring
evening.
out your workout and your mileage of running?
Yeah. So as you know, I do like the fasting. So I work from home because of everything going on with the pandemic. So usually I just work all day. Around 1 o'clock, I take my lunch. So I usually just do like a brief workout in my basement just for like the basics of muscles I want to strengthen so my knees are protected. So I do that little brief workout. I then do like my 30 minutes straight of like flexibility, static stretching, just to make sure it kind of reverses all of the sitting I do during the day. And
Yeah.
it primes me and sets me up for like a successful injury-free run later at night in the evening. So I usually work, like I said, at 4:45, and by 5 o'clock, I'm at the trail, out of my car running. So I do the same activation every time. I have like a little one of those little hip circle glute bands.
Yeah.
So I always just do, some what exactly is the name of that one? You would know if you saw it. It's like you're standing and you do a fire hydrant essentially, but
Yeah.
it's on one leg. So it focuses on like the
Real name for it.
stability.
It's just hip abduction. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So it just focuses on like the stability of the ankle with the single leg, and then it activates and opens up the other hip and activates that glute. So I do, around 30 of those instead of just doing like 3 or 10. I do quick one set of 30, get a burn. I use one of the sidewalks that's on the side of the trail. I do about 25 lateral step downs just to activate more of the glute medius,
Yeah.
hit the trail running. So around 5 o'clock, I go. I always just set like a timer. 30 minutes, 15. How fast can I get down 15? Once I hit that usually around like 2 mile mark, turn back the other way and do the same thing and try to beat that time. And that's been going on, like I said, every single day. Like no matter how tired I am, no matter how mentally wiped out I am, it's non-negotiable. You know where you will find me. If you want to see me at 5 o'clock and say you want to put a hit on me, you will find me at the trail. Rain, shine, tornado. I just understand as long as I get to the trail, the work will be done. Like that's how I generate my mind and my body. Like I'm in charge. What I want you to do, you're gonna do regardless. Because I understand that like at the end of the activity I force myself to do, I will feel 10 times better if I were to not do anything at all. I would hate myself. I promise you I'd hate myself if I were to say I'm gonna do something and I were to not do it because I want to let myself come to an excuse to overpower my will. I would hate myself for that period. I'd be so mad. I'd be so mad at myself. So I know that feeling is gonna feel a lot worse than if I were to force myself to do something that I know I will enjoy and I would thank myself for it. So
that's a good point. And I said I was actually having this conversation earlier in the week with my sister about the amount of people that say they're going to do something and make a promise to themselves and don't do it is probably 99% of the people that do that on a daily basis regarding so many things, especially health related things. I'm going to wake up earlier. I'm going to work out before work. I'm going to go for a run. I am going to, simple as this, like I'm going to call so-and-so today.
yeah.
They don't do it. And it just makes them more and more and more subconsciously tell themselves that their words mean nothing. They have no weight. They hold no accountability within their life.
Yeah.
It's wild to think of and see, and you are like so on point about every day between your lunch break, you do this. Every day after work, 5 p.m., you're there. I have not gotten to that amount of, I guess you could say it is consistency. Were you at a point where you recognized that and said, okay, this is what I need to do in order to get there? Like, what is it about your day-to-day life that allows you to do that? Why do you think some people don't? And how did you kind of breed that into your own life, into your own discipline?
Yeah, it starts with a why. Plain and simple, it's all about the why. So like I never was like this. Like I said, like on the last time we were here with the podcast, I was a guest on your podcast. I was never always like this. I was the person who had so much potential to be great, and I would say like I'm gonna start running in the beginning of the summer, and by the time school starts again, I'm gonna be the best in the state. I'm gonna be the best in the country. And I would probably run 5 miles that 1 week leading up to live practice to start up again. And then I'll play catch up continuously. But what I came to realize is that the why of me saying I want to go to the Olympics, that's what kind of tapped into non-negotiable. I get up every single day at 4:30. I would go to work at 6. I would work out during my lunch break. I would be so tired, swerving on the way home. I would get home, change, and I'd hit the road again. I'd come home and do like an hour and a half of core, abdominal stretching, and then I would go to bed, excited to get up the next day at 4:30. Not, oh my God, at 4:30 I have to do. I was so excited because I'm like, I'm hungry for how I could like try to uplift myself and elevate my spirit. I was chasing more a spirit high than I was trying to get like some notoriety from just staying at people who's not doing the work for me.
Yeah.
So that's why I got off social medias. I got off of everything, and I just really focused on like honestly praying and training. That was like the main 2 things I really was focusing my time around is just praying and training.
Now, what does it mean to you in a sense of priority when you talk about physical, mental, and spiritual? Because sometimes I feel like all 3 of mine do not coexist in a sense where choosing one activity is going to be better than the opposite, right? Like what's going to be better for my spiritual health? What's going to be better for my mental health right now and in the future? They're not always the same choice, but you have to make that choice based on one or the other. Where does your priority always fall?
Mine's always a spirit.
Yours
So
always
like
spirit.
at the
Okay.
end of the day, like the body is just a vessel. You know what I'm saying? So like the body's gonna be there regardless, and the spirit and the mind is what makes it move. No spirit, no mind is just like I said, a sleepless, helpless body.
Mm-hmm.
So my main thing is I use my spirit, which is they say everybody has some God in them, like divinity and omni and presence. So
Yep.
my thing is when I'm on the trail, I'm running not with my body trying to overbite. I try to be as relaxed and as stoic as possible. I try to let my body do what it is meant to do. And that is me just really talking to myself. And it's not, oh, go harder. Honestly, I run. I said, this is too easy. That's kind of how I talk to myself. By
Yeah.
me saying like this is too easy while I'm huffing and puffing, silence. I stop breathing. I really come in full focus, and I actually feel once more, like I say, that glide. I feel like I'm just gliding across the terrain.
Mm-hmm.
I'm smiling, which I can't explain. And my spirit is just being more heightened. If I want to be certain, like brute and aggressive, I want to be. Now, like I said, it's my spirit is trying to tap into a different type of energy, and
Yeah.
it's not me being in control.
Mm-hmm.
So for me and you, if you want to learn how to control the spirit, I always do spirit, mind, body. That's kind of how I try to like put all three pillars into one formation. Yeah. If my spirit's good, my mind will be good, and my body has no other choice.
Mm-hmm. What is your number one way to tap into your spirit other than exercise?
Yeah, meditation and prayer. So meditation for me, like that's how they say in between stimulus and response, that's where you meet the spirit, the universe, God, you whatever you want to call it. So when you're really focusing on your breathing and then you create silence,
Mm-hmm.
that space right there is so much calm and serenity. And I know I'm tapping into my spirit when I get goosebumps while I'm like praying or I'm meditating. Once I get goosebumps and it's just everything in the world is all right. That's how I felt this whole pandemic. Everybody's stressing, and I felt almost like selfish to say. I've been enjoying myself. I've been just chilling, working out. I've read 6 books so far since this whole pandemic started. And prior to this, I was only listening to audibles. So
You've read.
I read, yeah, physically read, and it's kind of crazy.
Can we get some insight into what they were?
Yeah, so I read one book, like I said, I'm based off of running, strictly running. I actually have it right here. Um, So you can see how beat up it is. But this book right here used to be my second Bible. So like the cover is ripped off, everything's ripped off about it.
Yeah.
But this book right here is a complete book of running. So it's by Jim F. Fix. So I always believe like everything happens for a reason. Like no matter where you are, you can meet somebody who might point you in the right direction.
Yeah.
So like I actually was in Massachusetts and I went to a Savers. I've never been to like a one of those type of thrift stores and shops like that. So
Yeah.
I went there, and one of the guys there, he's so random. He came up to me, and was like, "Hey man, you play any sports?" I was like, "That's the same time I was trying to go to the Olympics running." I was like, "Oh no, I'm just just like running and training, trying to like achieve a goal." He just took this book, was like, "I don't know if you run, but you should check this book out." So 2 years ago, I read that book. Like, bro, I swear, like every single month, I was just like my mind, my focus, my everything was focused on running. How can I become a champion? So I would envision myself doing everything the book said. I would envision myself like the book told me to almost try to like manifest things. So I'd envision myself running to a finish line, continuous past the finish line, run to my mom, give her a hug, give her the flowers that they give for like the athlete who wins.
Yeah.
As like a celebratory. I would, bro, every single second of the day I was envisioning that. I'd be at work sometimes start crying because I'm just like, I need this goal. I need to make this come into reality. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that book is one of them right there. As I kind of digress, another book is Lance Armstrong. So
Yeah.
I read his book. What was it called? It was actually right there. It's not about the bike. That's what it's called. It's not about the bike.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So every single book I usually give it like the first introduction chapter. I give it like a kind of test period.
Yeah.
The first thing it said was when you're on your deathbed and you're lying with cancer after just becoming one of the best cyclist of all time, and you realize none of that matters. My Porsche and my driver doesn't matter. All the praise, all the newspaper articles don't matter. The press wanting to get interviews with me don't matter. The only thing that matters is everybody in my room, in my hospital room, and pretty much that day could be my last day. So as I read that one introduction chapter, I started thinking like people take every day for granted. So just reading about, like I say, one of the greatest cyclists of all time, and
Mm-hmm.
he's there with so many prizes, so many things he worked for, the fruits of his labor, so many countless times on a bike stressing over how can I get better.
Yeah.
In 1 second, it meant nothing. So that right there, that book was so powerful to me because I'm like, when you understand that anything can be taken away from you, what really is, in my mind, going 1 more mile? Like today, if I were to be running, except for Victor, I would probably try to go like 6 miles, 7 miles, and I would try to go faster. And when I feel pain, I'm like, this could be my last run. So I take everything and I leave it out there. That's what that book taught me. And it's about always making a comeback. Whatever pretty much you're going through today, tomorrow, it could be better. He did chemotherapy. He said he was throwing up every single day. It starts off slow and it picks up. So as it deteriorates your body, because it's just chemicals and poisons that kill everything, including cancer cells,
Mm.
kills red blood cells, white blood cells. It completely torches your kidneys. Every day he said it got worse. He knew he was one day closer to getting better. So it's like the more he does the chemo, the worse he gets.
Yeah.
But the closer he gets to being healthy. So it's like kill two birds at one stone. It's he understands it's gonna be shitty. He understands he's gonna be feeling almost like a zombie, but he knows it's all for the better of himself, his family who cares for him and wants him to
Mm-hmm.
obviously beat this cancerous battle. And more or less just for his spirit, like I said once more, everything is about the spirit. So the third book was The Mindful Athlete. So that book right there, have you read that book before?
I haven't. No, I've heard of it though.
Super powerful. So that's where that statement I said about in between stimulus and response of the breath is where you meet God.
Yep.
So that book right there taught me that. And that's the same coach who worked with like, Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant,
Yeah.
throughout the Celtics. He
Yeah.
was a former heroin addict, and he found through like mindfulness that he could combat that towards the serenity prayer. As he understands where he is, he prays for strength from the universe. He
Mhm.
receives that strength, and in due time, he no longer is a heroin addict. He's actually like somebody who is a helper. He's a healer. He shows other people how he became who he is through his actions and his practices of
What's
meditation.
the name of it again?
The Mindful Athlete by
It's
George Mumford.
okay. He talks about Chris Herron, right?
No, no, not in that book.
No. Okay. All right.
So that one is all about sports. He talks about Bruce Lee, which most people do when they talk about mindfulness because he's
Yeah.
a practitioner.
Have you seen the Bruce Lee documentary?
The 30 for 30.
No, not the 30 for 30. Well, there's one called I Am Bruce Lee. It's absolutely insane. Did you watch the 30 for
No,
30?
I haven't seen either.
I need to watch the 30 for 30. The other documentary though, bro, just listening to people talk about him and listening to him talk in interviews, he at like our age, just worldly, bro, just on a different level. Just
Wow.
just
Yeah.
so crazy. And to know that he like um Chuck Norris was like one of his students. Like I didn't know that.
I never knew that either.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
He was
That's the guy
training.
that everybody talks about as
Yeah.
being,
And
the combat fighter, ultimate fighter.
yeah. So like he was training like the biggest names in Los Angeles and in Hollywood all throughout that like 60s to like 80s era. Like he was just he had that under his wing. Like he was just training everybody.
Wow.
Anybody with that desire, even just celebrities that wanted to just become more mindful, they would just go work with him just to learn the mindfulness part of everything he taught.
Yeah.
So wild, crazy. I didn't know any of that, and how he. Uh, I won't spoil it for you. What was book number 4?
So actually, it was a Bruce Lee book.
It was.
So
Okay.
yeah, yeah. So I found this book about how he was so stoic in his philosophies.
Yeah.
So talked about like his diet. It talked about how he raised his children. And even one chapter that stood out the most for me was the excerpt about his son talking to the author of the book. And he was just saying how no matter what he wanted to do, his father, Bruce Lee, was going to make sure that he failed, and he did not use almost his fame and his handout as a way to get better. So obviously Bruce Lee ended up passing, when he still was kind of young, like the son, but he already had like roles in Hollywood that he earned. He always learned from his dad to be very stoic, to not focus on tomorrow, focus on the day, focus on getting better gracefully, smoothly, and attacking everything with it's almost like with a very precise force. So instead of being like a Rambo and kind of like spraying and praying, be like a sniper, really aim and hit that every single day at the same exact marker. So that kind of for me was very brilliant, where I understand you could almost do too much of the wrong things. Instead, now I do the same thing every day, but I do it at a very precise intent. Everything I do has intent. It's not just being reckless, because being reckless is easy. Being disciplined is hard.
True.
You know what I'm saying?
And it breeds efficiency when you have a target, right? You
Yeah.
are efficient in your approach to get to that specific point.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're aiming at a big board, it's like, all right, well, I could just, I can go millions of different ways to get there. I'm gonna try all of them and take all of them and not have any efficiency in the way I get it done.
Yeah. It's where I land. And that's a very dangerous kind of mindset to have.
Yeah, so true. One of my new favorite quotes is, "If you aim at nothing, you will hit it."
Yeah, it's
So
so true.
simple, bro.
It's very true.
So simple. All right, that was 4. What was 5? You have
So
5.
number 5 was called The Man Up. So I always like to read books they have similar correlations, but they also talk about things in reality to me. So like The Man Up is just a book about a cowboy basically, and obviously I'm not a cowboy. I don't have any cowboy tendencies, but he talks about how his father, he groomed him to be the man he is, which is a multimillionaire, numerous businesses, and it's about how to be a man. So he talks about a lot of things that a lot of people in society don't talk about, where it's family and relationships, how you want to be the man of the family, how you want to uplift your significant other, and any children you have, you want to be pretty much influenced by your actions instead of the words you say.
Yep.
I can't tell my kids, don't you ever smoke and drink, and I go out and smoke and drink and let them see me. Like that is just you're just a goofball if you do something like that. Like you're horny. Like you don't
It's
deserve to
bad
be
because,
respected.
bro, so many people do, like, so many people are hypocritical in the way that they approach influencing the people around them.
Yeah.
So bad, so bad. It's crazy, and that's part of like what I wanted to do when I did my whole year of like sobriety. I didn't have a sip of alcohol. Was like random. People looked at me crazy because they were like, dude, this is like your last 6 months of college. Dude, like you're gonna have a graduation party and you're not gonna drink. What do you mean? Like we're gonna graduate? Senior week, you're not gonna drink. Your birthday,
I
like,
never knew that. Hats off to you. That's one thing I've never done. I've never tried to do like a sobriety for a year.
bro, I highly recommend it.
Yeah, I've never even
So focused.
6 months. Yeah, I think I've probably done like 6 months. But
Yeah.
my thing is like you had a lot more temptation, because that's when I was trying to really go for like the whole Olympic goal. So I have no one around me. I'm on social media. I don't see people partying. But if I'm at school, you know me, I never took like a weekend off. Like, I'm trying to put a weekend on.
At school, you definitely
Yeah.
think.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, bro.
That's dope.
I did that as a way to test my discipline, as a way to prove to myself my own worth, right? The saying of my word, how much that meant to me. And also it was related to, I needed the people around me to realize that it was possible.
First and foremost, yeah.
First and foremost, I needed them to see that it wasn't like, oh, I can't, or like, oh, but it's, and like, I was going to say no, but I didn't. Like, yo, I'm going to hang out with everybody. I'm going to go out with y'all. I am going to put myself in the situations. Just the first time I ever fasted for 24 hours, bro, for 8 of those hours, I was in a food court. I sat in a food
Wow.
court. Like, I needed to do it to prove that it was possible. And so
Yeah.
many people outside of what they are doing in their own lives like to give information and be hypocritical on do as I say, not as I do.
Yeah.
It's so true. And it's breeding so many people to not be able to trust the people they love, right? You come up as a kid and your parents are telling you, do this, do this, do this. And you're watching them do the opposite, do the opposite, do the opposite. Well, why? Why? You have to, all of a sudden, your subconscious is question everything.
Yeah.
Your subconscious is, I can't trust the people around me because they're lying to me while they're doing something else.
Absolutely.
And
So
it's
when the time comes and they say go left, you want to go right. You want to
exactly.
run right.
Yep. It's so wild. And that's something that, like, on a day-to-day basis just needs to happen within ourselves and just
Mm-hmm.
needs to happen. I always say, like, the accountability for our words these days is like gone. Like, you say, people are always like, yo, yeah, I want to do this, or I've been trying to get people to do podcasts, bro.
Yeah.
It took us 3 minutes to be like, yeah, let's do a podcast. All right, Saturday, cool.
Literally as simple as that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Booked, locked, and loaded.
Some people, bro, I've been trying to get on the podcast for months, close to a year. And
See, to me, that's crazy.
it's just like, yeah, nah, we'll definitely do that. We'll definitely do that. And it's like some people just prioritize things, right?
Mm-hmm.
People, I don't have time. Oh, but you had time on Friday night to go do this, that, and the next. I told you I was
Mm-hmm.
available on Friday.
Yeah.
At night after I got off work, I just worked 13 hours and I'm going to come home and I'm going to do a podcast. I'm down.
Yeah.
Nah, bro, I'm going out. All right.
But that's the difference. And that's
Yeah.
why you will remain great. You know what I'm saying? Because you're gonna put the things that you want to build up your future first and foremost. A lot of people, they like to talk about it and they never want to be about it.
Yeah.
It's so easy to talk about things. Super easy.
Easy
I've
to
been
do. The other
super
thing I
easy.
really
Fun.
liked you said was bringing it back a little bit was the spiritual piece of it. In the moment, what is going to make me feel lightless,
Yeah.
right? Like, what's going to make me feel a lack of need to pretend,
Uh-huh.
just what's going to make me, what am I really thinking about doing,
Yes.
right? I think that's something that I've been really tapping into more lately, and I've realized that it is very simple. Like, an object in motion stays in motion has been in my head a lot lately. I've been talking about that. If you continue to do what it is that you are going to say you're going to do, or you continue to do what makes your spirit feel better in that moment, it's just going to continue to cycle through. And
Yeah.
momentum. It becomes harder to go in the opposite direction. It becomes harder to say, like, at month, at 30 days in of a year of sobriety, it's a lot easier to say, yeah, I'll have a drink because you're only 30 days in.
Mm.
But at 9 months, 10 months, you're like, why would I completely come all this way just to throw it away now?
Yes. 9 months down the drain.
Yeah, exactly.
You're hustling backwards. So
Yeah, it's so wild. And in that sense, like, there's so many people, once again, that just their inability to hold true to what they say and hold other people
mhm.
accountable for what they say to them. I think that's something that we're missing, and it's cool that that book was hitting on that. Like, we need to lead by example. It needs to be done first, then talked about second.
I love that. Yeah. So I can't talk about how you should be disciplined. I can't talk about how you should live a lifestyle. That might be certain traits that I live by, because at the end of the day, I don't do what I do. Like, kind of figure out what works for you. But like, I can't preach about how you should get out there every day and not make excuses and make working out non-negotiable if I don't do the same thing.
Yep.
I'd be a clown to be like, oh, get outside and run. And let's say, for instance, record me walking in my car and say I'm about to put the work in, then go back inside.
Yeah.
Like, in due time, it's going to show. Like,
Yeah. For
the
sure.
way you look, the way you carry yourself, the way you speak to other people. There's like a certain aura about authenticity. So,
No, without a doubt, I like that. There's an order to authenticity. It's crazy.
mm-hmm.
There's something else I was gonna say regarding same concept, but I kind of lost it. Oh no, I found it. All right. Um, with David Goggins, I was listening to him, and it was his podcast with Joe Rogan.
Mm.
I've listened to both. I think he's done 2 or 3 on there. I've listened to all
Yeah.
of them multiple times, but
Mm-hmm.
I always it's one of those I always kind of revisit. Um, and he talked about the fact that he was like, I barely had any time. Like I was rushing between coming places and getting here this morning. Um, he was like, but I can't come on a podcast and talk about this shit unless I get mine in. So
Yeah.
he was like, I went in, I didn't have a lot of time. I just worked my ass off and I did it. I put in that work, and that allowed me to come on here. He goes in to say, like, I can't stand being on camera and talking to people about
Mm-hmm.
and that's not who I am. It's not what I like to do, but it is part of me trying to change people and help people become their better selves, higher
Yeah.
potential. So I realize I have to do it, but I physically cannot stand myself. I cannot do it unless I put the work in myself, because then I'm just talking out of my ass. I'm not doing it. He goes, so I sweat my ass off before I came in here
Uh-huh.
and I got it in. Now I feel like we can have this conversation.
Yep. He was like, I have to be so locked in on
Yeah.
every word you're saying so I don't run out of this mother effort. I was like, yo, he's such a boss though. Like, and then also the fifth book that I read was by David Goggins.
Well,
Can't
okay.
hurt me now. Yeah.
I had
Powerful.
a feeling. I had a
Powerful.
feeling. Yeah, because you told me that actually. I have to read it.
Yeah. So I reread that. Like, that's one of the main books I can always go back to because it's just like, at the end of the day, he's human. So where he is currently today is not where he always has been.
Nope.
So I can focus on everything he says and just know right now I could be the best man. Because I see him as one of the greatest humans at the moment just because of his mindset. Like he just like destroyed his meniscus. I don't know if you follow him on Instagram, but like he did something to his meniscus. He had to get it drained. Obviously, he's not been running, but he's still leaner than he was before. And he posted a video the other day like, oh, in life, curveballs will be thrown at you, but it's about how you respond. And he takes his shirt off and just like, does one of these things like wrenches it. All you see is like pounds of sweat. And I'm like, if you're not running, therefore you're not doing. Obviously, you're what did he used to like Rook? Is that what he used to do? Like with the big backpack and he would like walk through like hiking?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's not doing the Rook type of walks. He's not doing the stairmaster. I know he did that before, but like a marathon on it. Like he has like a certain record for the most amount of steps. And I'm like, if you're not doing that, you still can produce that much sweat. Like that's right there going the next level. Like the workaround effect. If I can't do this, I'll do this to get the same type of mental fortitude and heightenment and strength. So to me, I was like, this guy he's a maniac, and I really, really like look up to him as somebody who I could see as like a beam of motivation. Because I don't really believe in motivation and inspiration, but when I see the things he does, I see the world is yours. I guess you could say the best way to put it. Like the world is yours.
You know what just kind of came to my head is motivation is more of a way to get people to realize they're in their own way. Like it's
Yeah.
literally a way of calling out people's bullshit excuses. That's what motivation is. Motivation is like you're literally lying to yourself. Just go out and go do it. Like
Just go do it and come back to me
you're
after.
spending more energy trying to figure out why you can't than just figuring out why you can or how you can.
How you can. I love that. No, that right there is a fact. Everybody loves talking about why they can't, and I love that conversation because I have I would say like the co-workers at the job I work at currently. I would say there's probably an accumulated where I see everybody walking or doing like a form of fasting. And like I said, it goes back to just when people see me in the cafeteria, they have like a pizza party, let's say for lunch. When I was doing the 1 meal a day, I would sit there so gracefully and just have conversation. They're like, after a while, see me, you're not gonna eat any pizza? I'm like, oh no, I don't eat till later. They're like, didn't you just work out? Because I used to go during like my lunch break. So they're like, you're not hungry? I'm like, oh, I'm hungry as hell. Like I'm human. At the end of the day, I want pizza just how you're eating pizza, but you don't need to have something. You know what I mean? Like I could always wrap it up and I'm gonna eat it when I get home.
Mm-hmm.
So they see those little things, and I notice like certain events, they would be like, oh, how long are you fasting for? I'm like, all right, I'm fasting right now. Let's say 18 hours in. They're like, all right, well, tomorrow I'm gonna do the same thing. And they come to my desk and they keep asking me certain questions. I'm like, all right, so they're actually trying to do it.
Yeah.
So I would give them like certain feedback, like, all right, so when you feel hungry, if you want a little treat, we'll get some coffee and pop one of those little caffeine pills I have. So I give like caffeine pills. So I'm like, pop a little caffeine pill and like suppress your appetite to kind of hold you over. So like they take one of those things that come to me next day. Like I feel so accomplished. I thought I was gonna die. And it feels so easy for me to actually see that I can accomplish these things just through a mindset, a decision. I'm gonna do this, so I have to get it done. It's non-negotiable.
Yeah, I like that. A decision.
It's a decision. That's as simple as that. You decide to eat, or you decide to follow through with what you put in front of yourself that you're going to do.
Yeah.
Plain and simple.
Yep. You know what I've lacked on since our last podcast was my 48 hours of fasting per month.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I have not done anything like that, and my longest fast probably was February. Whatever time we did it, and I had to break it short. Whatever day that was like around was it the Super Bowl? I remember we were talking. It was like I think it was like around the Super Bowl. And I was like, honestly, I feel so crappy. And we were on the same accord, and we were like, all right, well, I'm gonna break mine when I go to this party later. You'd be like, yeah, me too. But that was the last time I really did any type.
At that point too, that's where I always catch myself nowadays is like realizing some things are more spiritual, mental, or physical.
Yeah.
And like you have to understand when to choose, when to let something go and not judge yourself for it.
Yeah, that's it.
There's a difference between aiming for the stars and landing amongst the moon and aiming for the top of a tree and landing on the first branch. Like there's a difference, you know what I'm saying?
Very, very big.
There's levels to this shit, and understanding that shooting for the stars and landing amongst the moon, you still got way farther than you did beforehand. And you have to be a understanding of looking back and being happy for yourself and feeling accomplished, but not being satisfied.
Yeah.
And I think that's where I hold myself accountable too much sometimes. I'm sure you do the same thing sometimes. And I think people that are listening get caught up in the fact that like it's perfection all the way through. It's far from that. But it's understanding that there's going to be slip-ups, there's going to be ebbs and flows, like we talked about at the beginning. You have to live with those. You have to figure out the law of the averages constantly increasing. The heartbeat behind me, literally, it shows the ebbs and flows of our life. That's our frequency. Our heart is our frequency. That is the frequency that we live on. It shows, right? We have ups and downs. That's why it's in the logo. That's why I love that concept.
Every second per day.
Literally
per day.
Every beat, man. Every beat is different. It's about that next step forward, that next round, that next punch, that next workout, that next rep.
And you want to know what goes even further to what you're saying? I actually go back to like what my Fitbit reading says. At the end of the day, it's always based off of like an average of the day. So some days when I run, like I say, for instance, my heart rate can go up to 180 beats per minute. But when I'm just relaxing and that's around like 50, think about it. The average is still going to be around like 60 something for the end of the day. So it doesn't matter how high or low you go, as long as your total average of the day, let's say, is composed of beneficial kind of progressive habits and actions, like you still won the day. At the end of the day, like you said, just kind of be grateful and ride the wave. That's the best way to put it. Ride the wave. Try to make more positives than negatives, but just ride the wave, you know?
Yeah. It's funny, for the gym, I posted a picture today, and it said "Ride the wave" at the top, and it said, "The wave shall crash, or the water shall crash, but it shall rise again."
Mm,
And when it does,
that's deep. I like that.
yeah,
I
and
like that. Yeah.
I was like, I don't know, that just seems like a good day for it. I think I might go surfing after this, so that was also like subconsciously probably playing in my head
Yeah.
why I
By
chose
the way, he about to be up there.
absolutely, bro. And like when you talk about that spiritual feeling of just like being, right? You just feel, I don't know that you feel anything actually.
I just feel so at peace.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
the whole body feels at peace. It feels almost like I'm in water, if you want to say. Sometimes I feel like I'm suffocating, but that type of suffocation is just so much happiness and joy. Like sometimes I just want to like shout, and it's just like off of just being. Right now I just feel so good, and it's just off of like my spirit because it's that decision you make. You know what I mean?
Yo, so I've been trying to do that a lot more lately. It's funny because I always used to look at people in the gym that were like just screaming and shouting, and like
Hmm.
when you work out, do you make any vocal noises?
Honestly, not really. I have
Mm,
been more recently because I've been trying to like go harder, up the intensity.
yeah.
And like that last little bit of yell is sometimes like let's say for instance on my run, when I say the way back, it's sometimes harder. I notice like if I'm running by somebody and I'm really hurting, I'm like like so I'm really trying to push that time. I see they almost get like a transfer of my energy and my grit and will, and I see them pick up the pace because like, wow, if he's working, I gotta go a little bit harder. So
Hmm.
like I'm gritting, I don't really care. I don't even see anybody. I get so locked in and engraved into what I'm doing because at the end of the day, like no matter how much I run, no matter how forward I get with my experience to exercise, it sucks. Like I'm gonna put it out there, it sucks, but I try to almost confuse my mind, hack my mind with a simple smile. Like I said, that I literally look like a madman. So I'll be huffing and puffing, but I'll be smiling because I'm like, you can't really feel pain because smile is like a very good effect on your body and your spirit. You know what I'm saying?
Serotonin and dopamine, man, they
Uh-huh.
automatically get released when you smile. I
They absolutely do.
there's a sign in the coffee shop next to the gym. It says, "Your day's gonna go the way that your mouth does." Up,
Yeah. A
upward.
thousand percent. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. Um, and the reason I asked about the like the moaning or groaning or just grunting or whatever it may be, any sort of vocal expression, is because I've started thinking about like the holistic picture, and I started thinking about Wim Hof, and he talks about
Mm.
how during his breathing and in Buddha, right, in Buddhism and in meditation, the idea of humming
Mm.
and causing vibration from your vocal cords can stem and change the frequency of our heart, right?
Yeah.
Change that. And it can also increase the adaptability of your hormones to increase or decrease the amount of something that's circulating for something like adrenaline.
Hmm.
Um, so, an awesome like biohack essentially is the grunting, the yelling is a way to increase adrenaline. That's the most simple one for athleticism or for working out. So as of late, as I've gotten far more spiritually kind of in tune with myself lately, that has felt so much more natural to just do. It's been weird. I don't know how to explain it, but like you said, like sometimes I just want to yell. Like I just
Yeah.
feel great. I just want to
It's
yell.
pent up energy. It's energy
Yes.
so pent up. You want
Yeah.
to just release it. So
Exactly. I've found that lately that's that spiritual thing that like your body just wants to fucking do it. Do it.
yeah.
Like what like kids when you're a kid, it's okay to just do random shit because you feel
Yes.
like it.
Yes.
If you're not damaging anybody else's, happenings around you, then I don't see the reason not to. And that's where like I think we lose our inner kid, we lose our child,
Hmm.
is we lose that connection of spirituality and things that we just want to do in the moment. And if
Hmm.
they are biohacks or they are beneficial or anything in that sense. It's just like I've lately been trying to tune into that.
Yeah, you see that comment? He said the grunting is like a pattern interrupt to snap you back into the animal of the brain. And so it's like almost innate. It's like that primal urge. Yeah, I
Yeah,
like that. Okay,
mammalian.
that
It's
makes sense.
it's so crazy, bro. Those little things go so far, and they get lost in the hindsight of I don't want someone to think something of me.
I'm about to say it's all societal.
Yeah, bro. It's
Parents, stop
so,
making noises. Stop yelling.
yeah,
Sit down. Stay quiet.
yes,
Different
bro.
things are
It's
enforced. Yeah.
ingrained. It's ingrained into us, man. And once again, it's that snowball effect of you are 4 years into hearing sit down and shut up and you don't
Hmm.
really care. You're 12 years into hearing sit down and shut up. You're like, nah, I'm going to do the opposite.
Yeah.
And you're 16, 17, 18 years into it and you're like, all right, this is kind of boring. I hate just going against the grain. Like
Uh
it's
huh.
some, and then all of a sudden you're 22, you graduate college and you have no more energy to go against that. You're
At
just,
all.
I'm just going to do it.
The
Whatever.
energy is suppressed. So
Exactly.
that is almost why, like I say, you begin to tap into, let's say, meditative practices.
Hmm.
It almost opens that vessel. It opens that channel, which is why sometimes you want to shout hallelujah. You go ahead and shout that out. You know what I mean? And even going back to what you said, like sometimes you want to just scream fuck and kind of express yourself in a way that is not society, I guess, accepted. There's been studies where like the more somebody swears, the stronger, more pain they're able to endure. And it's almost like you can set past and break through any obstacle and barrier through a certain word because of the emotions that are kind of
Associated with that.
encrypted into that word. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
encrypted.
yeah.
Yeah, which is so unique at the end of the day.
Bro, it's crazy. And it just goes to show, right, that we can take words and language and associate whatever we want to them,
Yes, absolutely.
right? It's the same way like um if the placebo effect is real, right? And that person at your in your office is saying that they need coffee. Like, yo, I want to do this 18-hour fast, but like I'm really dead right now. I got 6 hours left. Like, what can you do for me? Well,
Hmm.
I need to drink some. Well, how about you drink some coffee? We have the mental capability to drink water and tell ourselves it's coffee
Yeah,
and get through it.
that is actually very factual. Yeah.
Yo, the you know what scene just came to mind actually is Space Jam, where
Oh,
Mike's
the magic drink.
yeah,
Uh huh.
yeah, yeah.
That's true. Everybody's sporting for their like.
Yeah,
Yeah, seriously. Okay.
it's crazy because when you get to those breaking points is when you are, like Lance Armstrong said, you're one step closer to breaking through that threshold and expanding your limitations.
Yes.
In it, those breaking points are what separate us. Some people just hit that breaking point and come back every time.
Uh
Hit the
huh.
breaking point and come back every time. Hit the breaking point, come back every time. Other people are like, I'm gonna hit the breaking point and I'm gonna go an extra step.
Yep.
All right, now I'll back off. Okay, I'm gonna go for that breaking point and I'm gonna take one more extra step. Boom.
Yes.
And that little extra bit is the reason why Muhammad Ali used to say, I don't start counting my reps until they hurt.
Yes.
Like
Says it
those,
so much right there.
yeah, bro. Um it's not a mystery on how people have become successful in their own right.
Hmm.
They're all saying the same shit,
Yeah. Just different ways.
just different ways, man. They all have their own story and the way it was applied to their life, but it's reality. The truth is that it's all the same concepts,
Yeah.
literally.
I actually met somebody at the trail the other day too. It's very easy to like remember his name because his name is Andy. So close to that, so close to mine. So basically, what he told me is he used to always do marathons. He kind of like you said would reach that breaking point, and he was not able to get faster, progress past it. So he upped the distance instead of doing more or less ultra marathons. So
Mhm.
he's done 100-mile races. He's done 24-hour runs consistently around like kind of what David Goggins did. It's like a 4 mile course, and it's crazy. Everybody starts at one specific, let's say like a starting line,
Mhm.
and they have to run 4 miles in a set amount of time. I think it was like 40 minutes, which is 10-minute pace. So if you don't get back to that starting line again within that 40 minutes, you're no longer able to go the next round. So
Gotcha.
everybody keeps going and going and going, and it takes the whole day until you're like the last man standing or the last man running in this case. And he pretty much was just like explaining how that's kind of his passion, how he want to get better. And I love meeting random people because you never know when you will meet somebody like that, or when the opportunity will like present itself for you to have, that meet and greet again. So I asked him like, what kind of like drives you to do this? And he said he learned this, if you want to say mindset, from his buddy who's 59 years old. He's shredded, lean, looks like he's 35. He is a 3-time USA 50K champion, which means that's like a 31-mile race. So 3 times. He's 59, runs 120 miles a week. And his friend told him, he was like, you can't run 2 hours a day and try to go for 4 hours the next day. You have to do like kind of what you said, go 2 hours a day. Tomorrow, do 2 hours and 5 minutes. And that's pretty much how he lives his life. He has his shoes, he has his clothes, he has everything he needs to make sure that run is done, set and prepared for that day. So that can mean if he runs one day it's pouring, instead of making an excuse that my shoes are still wet, he has an alternate pair of shoes in that case, so he can let Stogos on and get his run out the way. So it's always just working around whatever you could use as an excuse, and always incrementally being consistent, 5 seconds faster than the day before. And I'm like, wow, that is amazing that he's 59. He showed me pit, bro. He's shredded, like 59. I'm like, that is not normal to be 59, shredded, and run 120 miles a week. What?
That's different, bro. That's
What?
different.
And he's human. That's how I took it. I'm like, well, he's human. If he could do that at that age, what is my 4 miles?
Hmm.
I gotta up it up.
So true, bro. And it's not
Yeah.
you need to run, 15 tomorrow. It's that
Uh-huh.
you just need to run, 4.5.
Simple as that.
Yeah. It's crazy, man.
Because literally, actually, on let me see, what day did I hurt myself? That was so on Wednesday, I went to like a certain trail that's in Connecticut. It's called East Rock Park. So it's like basically a mountain.
Mhm.
1.5 miles to the top, obviously 1.5 down. So I run to the top. I'm dying, pushing through. Cool, I get there. Instead of resting, I was like, all right, let me just turn around and go back down. I ended up doing 7.5 miles because I got lost. So like I thought I thought the bottom was, you know what I mean? So I guess when you go down from the top, how I initially got into the entrance, I went by the entrance and I kept going down. So now I'm in the middle of New Haven and I'm just running and running. And I'm like, I don't recognize anything around here. I'm running through random neighborhoods. People are looking at me crazy. And I'm just like, all right, well, let me first figure out how I can get back. So it's still Corona time, so I'm still trying to like stop people like this, like, hey, how do I get back to like East Rock Park, like the parking lot? What does it look like? All right, how do I explain everything is just grass and trees? So I'm like, well, the parking lot had a big grass field. Everywhere has a big grass field. So mine has a big grass field, and I'm trying to just think because when I do certain things that's not like fitness involved, I kind of just do it like very nuancedly. Like I'm not thinking about is there a barrier? Is there like a certain like a sign in the park where the parking lot is? I'm just gonna park my car. So I'm like, all right, what can I remember? So I'm like, all right, well, I did see like a red gate that was open. Only one side was open. There were some orange cones. I noticed one tree was cut in half. You know where that is? They're like, all right, so you have to go back 2 miles up the way you came down. So I'm like, it's supposed to be literally an easy 3 mile run. So I'm like, all right, cool. I'm at the bottom of what once was 1.5. Now I have to go an additional, think about it, 2 miles up. So I have to do in total 2 miles back up the hill. So I'm dying. I am in so much pain. And at that point, I took it as a challenge that I am not done until I get back to my car. I can stop here and be like, you know what? I said I'm gonna do 3. Let me just walk. But I'm like, no, no. When I get to my car, that's when I will check to see my total distance. But for now, let me just enjoy the run.
Yeah.
So like I'm huffing and puffing and my legs are on fire. And I finally get back to my car. I'm cramping. I'm dehydrated. and I see, 7.5. All of that discomfort, all the dehydration went away at that moment. Cause I'm so happy. I'm like, word. Like, no one could tell me anything. I got lost. One, I found my way back. I was dehydrated. I have cotton mouth, but right now nothing's gonna stop me. So I started to do some like additional like sprints in the grass field and just trying to utilize pretty much what that guy told me, like I said prior to that time, where is go a little bit further. Like you already surpassed that, but surpass what you think already has been surpassed.
Yeah.
Because like the sky is yours. Like, you know what I mean? The sky is yours. Try to fly, try to soar high, like do what you have to do to kind of progress at like beyond your own pace. Because if I want and you want to go your own pace, you have to almost like envision where you actually want to be. The greatest gift we had as children was imagination. I want to be Superman. I can fly. Why turn off that belief? You could do whatever. Like you could literally imagine whatever you want, and it's free.
That's so true, bro. The one of the things that I always love to say, bro, is the reason we need to meditate, and everyone needs to, is because you are the only one that can go into your own head and find all of the ideas that are in there. You're the only one with the access to that information.
Yeah.
Nobody else can go into your head and think those 60,000 thoughts per day and be in contact with them and be one with them. Nobody else. That's why it's literally your social responsibility to go in there, find out what you have that's different from everything else going on, and bring it out to life. It's the only way that we can all collaborate to our true potential.
Yeah. That's almost like selfish. You not give honestly like the universe an opportunity to get that idea that you've inspired,
Without a doubt, man. It's so it's literally infinite, the amount of different things that could happen.
It is.
The amount of thoughts, the amount of the amount of people that watch this is just it creates another conversation, another time with a different thought, with a different thought process that brings up a old movie. It all happens as a result. It's all chain reaction, man. It's all chain reaction.
It's all like I always tell you, and I bring up the name of your podcast and your brand. It's limitless. It's like it's a discussion. One idea could be a discussion for what we're talking about. It could be my perspective on, let's say, that run, that mistake, and somebody could be like, "Hey, remember when we went to like a certain trail, we got lost, and we thought we'd never get back home, and it turned into a whole day, in the forest and the cactus, whatever, yada yada yada. But we made it back home. Ha ha ha! You laugh, and then you have like it's just like a laugh moment. It's our experience is composed of an idea that you lived through yourself. Different perspective, but it's the same concept.
So true, man. So true. So those were all 6 books that you read. The last one being the David Goggins one.
Yeah.
What's the name of that one again?
Can't Hurt Me.
Can't Hurt Me. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to buy that.
Man, bro, I'm telling you, because the way your mind is, you will love that book. You probably won't put it down. I'm gonna be honest. Like I binged it like the first time I read it, and then the second time I read it, felt the same sensation like the first time I did. It's just such a powerful book because you know the man who we see on like Joe Rogan, we see on these other like big platforms, but then he actually delves into who he was before that, how he was like a pathetic, simple-minded, weak person, and you just see the development, each play out, each level up, and it's limitless, man. It always goes back. It's limitless, like we're just limitless as humans,
And we are human. That's
it.
We are all human. We're literally 99.9% the same.
Yeah. Just one decides to, let's say, like actually train, one decides to read, one decides to become a politician. It's decisions. We're all humans who make different decisions of how we want to utilize our time to.
And you want to talk about survival of the fittest, right? If you bring that back to the concept of how we became human, it was by being fit in our molecular selves, right? Like, as you were one of the fucking 100,000 pieces of sperm that decided to freaking fertilize one of hundreds and thousands of eggs. That's survival of the fittest on the most
It is.
minute level. So 400 trillion to one chance that we became human beings out of all things.
Yeah.
And people are like, nah, man, I can't. What?
I can't.
It's literally ingrained in you. That's how you
Yeah.
got here. It's
But
part
more than that, I guess that pretty much example and metaphor you just made is so much deeper because out of the 400 trillion, you are the one.
it's
So people are like, I mean, suicidal thoughts and depression and all that stuff, like I understand it exists, but when you really have somebody who, that's almost like a groundbreaking statement. It's like you were meant to be. You can say out of a 6 billion people, you're here, how every many people die per day, you're still here, but it's like 1 out of 400 trillion cells, you made it. Like you're here for a purpose.
yo,
Like you are here for a purpose, regardless of how you feel about your purpose might be. But like it goes a lot bigger than just
regardless
that.
of how you feel about the reality that you are living in, it is virtual, right? We are creating this reality, the things that we see around us.
Mm-hmm.
It's regardless of how you feel about that, like you said, it is a vessel, right?
Yeah.
We are a spirit at heart.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we are. That's how we operate.
Yeah.
We are a frequency, a soul. Um, it's meant. It's here for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, you can't really put it any more simple than that. And out of 400 trillion, for you to be the one, it's ingrained in you as part of who you are. It is.
Yeah.
It is part
Now,
of. You
it's
just
bigger
haven't
than
dug deep enough to figure it out.
yeah.
You haven't dug deep enough to find out why, or you haven't been in an environment. You haven't been lucky enough to experience something that has made you realize that.
Mm-hmm.
And that all comes with timing. And timing's everything. Some people figure it out early. Some people don't. I was saying earlier in the week to my boss at the gym, like the environment, my work environment now is far superior to anything I've ever experienced, and it's allowed me to bring more of myself out because
Yeah.
it's inviting. It makes me feel like I can do that.
Yeah.
So some people don't have the environment that they need, and
Uh-huh.
that's a problem with society, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the the ability for people to adapt comes with the environment changing around them.
Yeah.
Um, the only way you do adapt is by the external stimuli that you take in.
Mm-hmm.
The system has to take that in and then focus it and filter it into some sort of I need to get beyond that.
Yeah.
Um,
That's deep.
it's crazy. It's so deep, bro. It's deeper than
It
deeper
is.
than you can comprehend for
No,
sure.
no, no. Like I said, I was trying to like get every single thing you were saying and envision it, and I'm like, that is so vast. Like that just kind of chops on so many levels. You know what I mean? Of everything that we kind of have that's like placed for us to be environmentally trapped in majority of the time. I
Mm-hmm.
see like from my perspective, like my family, like both my parents came from Jamaica, um, different country. I always think about it like you come from a different country, you excel in this country through athletics, through the job positions that you actually work for, and then you start a family. You move that family out into a very nice environment, community, and you give them all the opportunity and the chances to honestly become better than you were.
Mm-hmm.
We have more opportunity. Your environment is Jamaica. It's a different culture, a different perspective, a different ideology of every way you live your life. To yeah, you break out the environment. You have to make and pave your own way forward. So, have you thought about how you want to live your life for the offsprings that you're gonna bring into the world? Like, have you begin to think about that transition? Because I know we're still young, but like that is the only thing we honestly have to look forward to, if you want to say. It's inevitable, in a sense.
It's honest. It runs through my head all the time that like um, my family, I'm forever indebted to everybody in my family for the fact that I was the youngest one and they were um, they molded an environment that allowed me to, like you said, progress, right? And that's the way
Yeah.
I think about, on a generational level, what that dude does for running an extra half mile or an extra 30 seconds, we have to do as a generational,
Hmm.
a generational piece of the chain, is we have to take that extra step, right? It was someone put us up against a wall, right? They went as far as they could bring us.
Hmm.
It's up for us to take that extra step,
Yes.
right?
Leap forward. Leapfrog.
Exactly. And now, if I'm going to be on this step and this is where I'm going to have kids, then I need to put them as high up into a different level as possible in order to help them. And
Yeah.
it's the only way evolutionarily that we are going to continue to survive as a human species, is that I desire to get smarter. I desire to get faster, bigger, stronger, more efficient, more disciplined, more spiritual bound. All of these things create greater connections, more intellect. All of those things allow the next generation to do the same. If what is true is that we do not use 100% of our brain capacity, right?
Hmm.
If it's true that your gold medalists use about 40% of their brain capacity, then that tells me our 60,000 years of human evolution has brought us to 40%. Okay, so we're not even halfway there.
Mm.
How much do we have to do? How much further can we get?
Yeah.
How much longer are we going to to be able to have that opportunity? Because eventually there's going to be that fine line of you can only go as far as you can survive, and if you don't go fast enough, then things like Earth are not going to be an environment for you to thrive in.
Mm.
So that's where my head's been at lately, is like, I just need to be the best version of me in order to let the people that are immediately around me right now
Yeah.
thrive, and the people that I potentially bring into this world
Hmm.
to make it a better place too.
Yeah.
It's I don't know how you think about it, but I think about it in the sense that I've seen some people have kids in the worst times of their lives,
Yeah.
and it's just tough because you are bringing someone in that emulates what you're genetically doing at that point in your life
Mm.
to yourself.
Mm. Yeah. That's actually very true. Yeah.
Like
Yeah. Yeah.
some people that are amazing athletes at 15, and the next 10 years of their life completely fall off, and they have a kid at 25,
Yeah.
it is more likely to be like the person that they are at 25 than the person they were at 15.
Well, that is actually so true because your cells and genes and DNA have evolved. Yeah. Yeah.
They're
That's a good point.
evolving in
Yeah.
real time.
Yeah. In real
Uh,
time.
and in the other sense of the word, right,
Mm.
or vice versa, you reciprocate that. You have someone who is, say, 24, and they are like, I'm not in a place where I want to have kids yet because I know that I can put myself in a better place, and with that, at 30, in 6 years I will be in a better place, and I will automatically produce offspring that are more genetically adaptable, or in a
Hmm.
better position to be more successful as a human.
Yeah.
um, then you have that social responsibility, if you understand that, to do that, in my
Yeah.
right. Like, I know right now I'm a 385-pound diabetic, and I can change that.
Mm. I
I'm not,
have to change it.
right.
Yeah.
Like, I can
Oh.
change
Mm.
that. And like, if I want to bring kids into this world, I need to do that in order to bring kids into this world.
Yeah, and give them like the best possibility and opportunities to survive and thrive, essentially. Yeah.
The best chance, for sure.
Yeah.
The same way your parents moving out of Jamaica and here gave you the best chance.
Yeah, without a doubt.
What's up, LT Tribe? DFOS here, just to express my gratitude and say thank you for tuning in and continuously commenting, liking, sharing, and subscribing to the episodes and the content that we are bringing you. It is helping so much. Once again, I want to say thank you and hope you have a great rest of your day. Limitless Fitness family, this one is for you. If you are a weekend warrior, a fitness enthusiast, a fitness professional, or an athlete, young or old, it does not matter. If you are trying to get fit or stay fit or improve your fitness levels, head over to ck1bands.com and grab yourself a pair or set or single band, because a resistance band is one of the most efficient pieces of fitness equipment that you can use anytime, anywhere, any place, and you can bring with you almost anywhere you travel. So head over to ck1bands.com and use the code LIMITLESS, all capitalized, for a special discount at checkout. Please go support Chris, everything he's doing. Chris Capon was a high school teammate of mine, a lifelong friend, and the first guest on the LT360 podcast. He is the creator and founder of CK1 Sports. If you have not listened to that podcast, I highly suggest you go do that. And after you do, or while you are listening or watching it, head over to ck1bands.com and grab yourself some bands. I use these things every day with my clients, and they never disappoint. Shout out to all my fellow athletes and health enthusiasts out there. Did you know that your typical average pill or capsule-based vitamin or supplement takes anywhere from 48 to 72 hours to actually be broken down in your stomach and begin to get digested? And upon digestion, about 70% of what is on the label is going to be utilized by the body. So stop wasting your time and money on basic everyday vitamins. It's time that you start to understand the science behind it, and it's time that I introduce you guys to Isotonics. Isotonics brings to you the world's most advanced nutraceuticals. They are taking science to a whole nother level when it comes to vitamins and supplementation. A true holistic approach. Iso means same and tonic means pressure. So these isotonic vitamins, which are powders that you mix with water, are going to be recognized by the body as blood, sweat, or tears. And when you digest them, they get bypassed through the stomach straight into the small intestine, so absorption can begin in less than 5 minutes. On an empty stomach, 90% of what is on the nutrition label can be absorbed in just under 30 minutes. It's something that is unprecedented and unmatched in the industry. You cannot feel the difference with vitamins like you can feel the difference with Isotonics. So the delivery matters. And to give you guys proof, I want you to be able to check out and learn for yourself and experience it yourself. Feel that Isotonics difference. So head over to shop.com or isotonics.com/limitless theory and check out all of the amazing Isotonics vitamins and supplements that you can get your hands on, and get 10% off your first order using code 10OFFMA, 10OFFMA, all capitalized, at checkout for 10% off. And just know, when you start to buy Isotonics on a regular basis, not only will you get 10% off your first order and additional orders in the future, you will also get 2% cash back on anything you spend, and if you put it on auto ship, you can save an additional 5% on every order. The opportunities are endless, and the difference is felt. So make sure to go get yourself some isotonics and start to feel the difference for yourself.